Hayden, nice to meet you for the first time since you weren't part of the first one. I think it'll be a running thing, but next time I have you guys on, it'll probably be like Kyle or J Dog can't make it to record, so it'll always be like one missing. I feel like.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably what's gonna happen. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously no Stu this go around. So we didn't have Hayden last time, and we didn't have Stu this time. Stu's not feeling well. But yeah, next time it's gonna have to be Jackson or I guess, or maybe we can finally get all of the M-Way folks in one group chat.
Yeah, well, Stu and Hayden are basically the same personality, so you can sub them in for each other. It works.
Yeah. They just sub in and out for each other. Both long hair. This is so not true though.
That's the opposite of the truth.
Yeah, they're like
that's the
polar
joke.
opposites.
Yeah. That's funny.
Oh my gosh. Well, congrats on the 200.
Dude, thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I hit 200, and then it'll also be 5 years of the podcast, all kind of in the same month. So, good times.
Nice.
Crazy.
Do you guys have any questions before we fully get started?
I know the deal. I just did this with you like a week ago. So, what about y'all, Hayden, Jackson, J Dog?
J Dog.
J Dog.
J Rock.
J Rock. Yeah, we should start calling you J Rock.
Oh yeah, nah. J Dog is wrong.
J Dog's
Oh, gosh.
always.
Well, you know how it goes. Keep it nice and chill. Everything's kind of open forum. My only question for the three of you before we get started, I know Aiden's drinking a Negroni, but for the other two, do you have any unopened beverages you like to participate in the opening crack with?
I'm opening another to participate in the unopening.
All right. So I'll count us in. We'll do this, and then I'll do the intro. Bring the three of you in, and we'll have a good time.
I'm ready.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Beers with Bands podcast with your host, Michael Torres. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Beers with Bands. And not only is it just a killer band that I have on today, but they're helping me celebrate 200 episodes. That's right. You've listened, if anyone's paid attention this long, it's been 200 episodes of Beers with Bands, which is insane to think about. And I'm so stoked to have Excuse Me, Who Are You be the band that I'm sitting down with. How are you guys doing?
Good.
We're just chilling. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Sick. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Dude, of course. I'm stoked that we're doing this. I know we were supposed to do an in-person one a few weeks back, and I'm happy we at least had a contingency plan made out for it. I will say the mimosas did hit pretty well last week because I did crack into a couple of those bottles. But we'll have to do it. We'll have to try again some other time. It's okay.
We're gonna have to rain check it. I'm so somber that didn't happen. Essentially, for anyone that's listening to this, Stu is sick, and we weren't able to do our show in Minnesota, so we weren't able to meet up with Michael to do like an in-person Beers with Bands. And this time, 2 weeks later, same day, the same Sunday, 2 weeks later, Stu is sick yet again. He is vomiting profusely. Yeah.
Eat some bad calamari or something.
Yeah. That'll happen. That man can't have fish.
Can't even. Definitely can't have squid.
Yeah.
Right.
We have this. Well, I mostly have this running joke that he can't eat anything out of like a typical American diet, and he hates it because he'll just get sick. Poor Stu though. I feel bad for him. So he really wished that he could be here right now, but obviously I was like, you need a rest, my guy.
Yeah, totally understandable. Health comes first. As I normally do say for members that aren't here, this is where we kind of pour one out in their honor. So this is where we're going to kind of pour one out for Stu. By pour one out, I just mean we take a good old drink of our drink. We don't waste alcohol around here.
Pour one down the gullet.
This one's for Stu.
For Stu.
but obviously we're missing Stu. But for the people that might not be aware of who are you are is, can you kind of go around and say who you are and what you do in Amway?
I'm Hayden. I play drums. Sorry. I thought Kyle was gonna start.
I'm Jackson, and I play bass guitar.
I'm Kyle, and I do vocals.
We kind for people that are new to Emway, Emway has been on the show before. Definitely go check out the episode that we did last year, where we talked about your debut EP, about that beer I owed you, and kind of like a lot of like the backstory for Emway. So like I'm not gonna obviously dive into like how'd you guys meet because it's already out there. We've done that whole episode. Please go check it out. So now we're kind of meeting up, kind of like a year later. I think we lost J Dog for a second, but we're meeting up a year later, and a lot of things have changed since then. I mean, one, you guys have been picking up even more momentum in like the Wisconsin scene and everywhere else, and two, you have recently dropped your debut LP, Double Bind. It's been a great time listening to it, and it's been a great time seeing the responses that have been happening. Before we kind of dive into all of that, like how has the last year felt getting ready and prepared for this album to be released?
Stressful.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah, mentally tolling. No, it's been like a really, really good time. We've done runs that we never even dreamed of being able to do with bands we love, play shows with bands we love. And the whole release was a headache and a half. I mean, we finished Hayden's drums in what, like March, maybe last
March
year.
of 23, yeah.
And yeah, so we started recording this like what, over a year before it was
well
released.
over a year, yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't finish it until the end of October, I believe. So we had like several things happen. And what is J Rock doing? Where are you going? What the heck? Okay. Yeah, it essentially took us like what, a majority of the year to complete the recording process, and even like add like finishing touches and stuff for us, and me to finish writing some of it.
Yeah.
So,
to get everything mixed and mastered as well was kind of difficult. We had some hangups there.
Yeah, we ended up changing who we were going to mix and master with, and yeah, it all took a long time. So longer than we were really hoping for it to, but oh my gosh, we're so happy that it is out, because I wrote these songs on guitar in 2021, I believe, like summer 2021. Maybe that truck was the first thing I wrote in the test chamber tuning that long ago. It was right around the time that we were writing the EP. And yeah, so we've been sitting on this stuff for a long time. So it feels so good to have it out there.
It's crazy to think that Truck was around, like kind of written around the same time as like that the EP, considering this is your sophomore release basically, and to hear this dynamic change, like it's crazy to think that it was all kind of around the same time, being in the initial process.
Yeah, I think to speak on that further, like I didn't like record or write any of the guitar stuff on the EP. So the Double Bind I wrote on guitar. So Stu did Chicken Cock and Test Chamber on the EP, and our old drummer Jamie did Gordon and Urine Luck. Like they wrote all those on guitar, respectively. And yeah, so then I wrote Double Bind, and I was planning to use it for potentially other things. And lo and behold, And it was always like something that we played around with Emway using it, and because it was stuff that was inspired by the stuff we were currently writing. So I think that's part of like why it might sound like a little bit different, maybe like a bit more punchy or sporadic potentially, but I still feel like there's that Emway in there deep down. It's
Yeah.
not too much. It's not a departure. I don't feel like. I was really worried that it might be though along the writing process.
I think it's just a
It's
gradual enough where it's like it's that like matured step where it's not like a full departure. It's like this is still M-Way, but it's a little bit more refined leading into it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to cut you off there, J Dog. Go ahead.
Oh no, I didn't have a whole lot to say. Just agreeing that is different. Yeah, it's different.
Yeah.
A little darker, a little harsher, I'd say. But heard a lot of people say it has the same sound but a different style, or maybe I have that screwed up backwards, and I don't entirely know what to make of that. But it's getting towards something. It's different.
It's
I
like
will
Majora's Mask.
say, yeah,
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say
for
that
sure.
that it's really nice, just because it's not like a full departure. Where when I go to listen, at least like leading up to like today, one thing I would do a lot is I would put on About That Beer and then have Double Bind queued to go right after the EP.
Ooh.
And like it works really well, especially because like, and I'll talk about it here in a little bit. There's a few like in Double Bind, there's a few like callbacks to the EP, so it works really well to do that transition. And it's really, I mean, that's something I do for everybody, where I try and listen to like all the early stuff to lead into it. Obviously, I knew the early stuff already, so it made it a lot easier. But it's a nice transition between the two. Now with, I mean, at the time of recording, this album's only been out for 2 weeks, if that. I know leading up to the release, you did something really cool. Is you got together with the DIY Discord to basically do like a listening party, and then you guys all together watched Perfect Blue. For people that aren't aware, Perfect Blue is an anime that directly ties into a lot of things going on in this album. I didn't watch with the watch party, but I did go find a stream and watched it on my own to kind of get the full feel, because a lot of things of M-Way come from this, especially in this album. But like when you were saying that you kind of wrote a lot of Double Bind for like a different project and a lot earlier, but like did it always have the tie-ins to Perfect Blue even back then, or when did that come about?
Oh, that's a really good question. Like I think probably around the time I was like halfway done with like writing the songs, we were like, okay, we're gonna use this for MY, and it turned into like what we knew our next release was going to be was Double Bind, um, because our EP was going to be named that. And last minute, before the EP was out, before the EP was out, I already knew it was going to be Double Bind. So that was like what, end of 2022. Stu was like, "We're calling it Double Bind," and I was like, "No, we're not, because I'm writing Double Bind." So that's when we ended up like pretty much just being like, okay, it's going to be a Half Life thing, right? Um, but yeah,
Yeah,
I think keep going.
when did the band name come around? Was it already Excuse Me, Who Are You when you tried out for vocals?
Yep. No, no, it wasn't. They were between This Is the Girl and Excuse Me, Who Are You, right, Hayden?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
This is the girl or something. It was
I'm
like
not sure
this
if it was
reference
This
to
Is the
something.
Girl, but yeah,
I might be,
something
yeah,
with girl in
Stu.
the title.
Yeah, and I was like, these are terrible names. I hated Excuse Me, Who Are You at first.
Yeah, I hated
Jackson
it as
Yeah.
hated
well.
it too.
Yeah,
Um,
when I joined, I
I like it.
recommended, how about we just go by M-Way, make that the title. But now I get it. Now I like it. I like the Excuse Me, Who Are You? But yeah, I bring it
It
up
took me
because
some time.
clearly that is from the movie. So we were always pulling from that, always pulling from the movie.
Yep.
Perfect Blue.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I remember. So when like I said, I found a stream for it, and I had rented it off Amazon to like watch or whatever. But fun fact for anyone that's gonna go and like wants to watch it now, if you rent it on Amazon, it's only the subbed version. So I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna get the full experience of listening to Mima say, "Excuse me, who are you?"
Right.
at
Yep,
all.
yep.
So then I had to go find like another like I had already paid for the rental. I was like, I'm not gonna watch this. And then I had to go find like another random stream that I could find online of like the dubbed version to fully get the full effect for
Yeah.
it. And I'm so happy I found it because I think someone had posted probably like the morning after the watch party of like when we get to like this scene and then she says, "Excuse me, who are you?" And like just everyone freaked out in like the Discord.
Yeah.
Like I like it was almost like one of the like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme, just like, "Oh my god, they did it" type deal, which was really cool to see, and just like how intertwined it is with this. And I mean, obviously, we've seen Amway intertwine, pop culture and like nerdiness with Half-Life into an EP before, but to see it done again and also just done so well, and I think that's one thing that really makes this record stand out is just the good uses of it, and like it's not overly done, but it's just done very well to continue the album going.
Thank you. Seriously. Yeah, I mean, and that it was so cool doing the listening party. I mean, I I put countless hours into it, and then Stu also we all put countless hours into making it great. And I mean, we I like took each portion of the Perfect Blue movie before. So like when we were listening through the album, you could see like the part of the song that we actually took samples from playing along with the song, if that makes sense. And then like it kept playing through. So like each song that we did that for actually like perfectly lined up with the sample in the movie. And I don't know, it was Stu's idea. I actually had made them all and everything. I was like, it's all done. And Stu's like, we should do that instead. So I was like, oh gosh, so I'm gonna have to do like just like scrap all of this and do that instead. But I'm happy that we did because it ended up being. I remember watching for the first time and I was like getting teary eyed. I was like, "This is so cool." But yeah, the watching the movie like just turned into like a drinking game. Everyone was just like, "Emily, drink, everyone drink." Like on Discord, drink. It was funny. It was a lot of fun.
Now, I kind of want to go through a lot of the tie-ins if you haven't broken it down on another interview yet. Obviously we have Double Bind, which is the TV show that they're working on. I think it's a TV show, not a full movie. I think it's, if I remember correctly. So obviously we have that being tied in with the album name. We have Emway, which is what Mima says as her first line on camera.
Yep.
And then we also tie in again with some of the song titles, like mimasroom.com is a direct tie-in to the creepy website, which I also want to say how this movie hasn't been turned into like a live action like just suspense thriller is amazing, because like I was getting freaked out through it, and I was like, damn,
It's
this is
so
just
good.
like actually really good.
Yeah.
But are there any other tie-ins that I missed? Obviously, I think Mima's going to be on the vinyl, and then the single artworks kind of tie into the couple of the frames that have happened. But is there anything that I missed in there besides like some of the sound clips?
So all of the songs, their names come from the movie. Besides like
Especially
Amway, I
volcano
guess.
balls.
Yeah, and Volcano Balls. Volcano Balls is not in Perfect Blue. That's a
That's
different
something
story.
else.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think. Like, there's some lyrics that I have that reference the movie, like in Double Bind and um, not maybe the truck. I don't think.
Because there's a couple lines there at the beginning of Truck where, and I could just be overthinking it, where you're talking about like, just woke up, need a cigarette, and then just like something about protector. Like I felt like that was a tie into the movie, but I wasn't for sure
It's a
Okay.
Stu
No,
lyric.
yeah, that is the only lyric I think that Stu contributed to this release is that woke up through and Protector, which is a band, um, and they're really good. Yeah. So yeah, that one's not. I definitely have more. There's Volcano Ball's hook is like literally a like that song is like written around a Perfect Blue quote. Um, yeah, I mean the end of Double Bind 2 has a quote that I ripped. Um, yeah, there's a bit of like maybe we went too far. So it's really nice that you're like I totally don't think you did, because even when we were like uploading the videos for the listening party, there I think it was on like Curses and Double Bind or something. It was like copyright detected for the listening party where I was literally ripping the movie. But I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's a little scary. I really want to upload them still, but it'll probably get taken down, from YouTube just because I'm ripping stuff from the movie and putting our logo over it or double bind over it, I think is what I did.
And
There's
our
got to be a way to do it.
t-shirts and our stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like when I first saw everything, I was like, okay, maybe this is like a full concept album that they're just tying into the movie, which I wouldn't have been mad about that either. Just because there are the tie-ins to the movie, and it just works so well that it just played out like that.
I think in writing it, like especially with the guitar stuff, I wanted like everything to kind of like tie into each other and feel like a similar like there's parts in songs where you can hear like a similar fill or there's callbacks to different parts in songs, and I've had like one person notice them so far, at least vocally to me. Which for me, I was like trying to like the what's real, what's not, like stuff fading in and out together. Stuff that like has similarity but doesn't. And while it is like about the movie Perfect Blue and everything, I think lyrically I tried to tie it into like stuff that I would typically write about and not you know try to be like, oh, I'm Mima, like what what am I gonna write today for my lyrics, like, so I don't know. I think it might have just been easier for me that way, but yeah, there's a lot taken from it's that inspired us from the movie.
100%. Yeah.
What are you doing, Jackson?
I think he's going
Going
inside.
inside.
Oh, you're gonna it's like I just saw like the ground close up for a second.
And like I mentioned earlier, there is for sure at least one tie-in to About That BRO idea. I feel like there's another one that I couldn't remember when I was finalizing my like list of questions, but the one that like obviously will stand out to everyone is I think about it all the time. I think about you all the time. From Chicken Cock to Mima's Room, and I can't remember what the other one was. At least I thought I could have been pulling at strings. Um, but
I think
I
I did
really,
another one too.
because I feel
I
like
can't remember.
I'm blanking on like the song that I quoted yesterday in that tweet. It might be
You quoted one in your tweet.
yeah. It was the I never feel like I used to, no matter. It's off the new one. I'm blanking on the actual
Oh,
lyric.
yeah. That's off Mima's Room too.
Okay, but I felt like that
Um,
line almost was like a callback to something else in About a Beer, but I could be wrong about that one. I could have just been like just trying to manifest something. Um, but when
there's
I got
definitely similar themes.
yeah, but when I
Yeah.
got to Mima's Room and I heard the line, like I think about it all the time. I think about you all the time. Like I loved that callback to Chicken Cock because it's such a good set of lines from that song, and it works so well in this, and like just the way it was done, like just that one slight change, and then going into it, like it was a nice little like. I mean, obviously callback, like I've said, but like I don't know, it was just really nice to see that pop up.
Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I was writing that part, I was having a really hard time doing it, and it took me so long. I literally ended up having like a moment. I was like about to take a shower, and like that whole entire part, the whole ending part of the song with the synth and everything was just like, and like I was like, I have to write it down right now. To write it down right now, and I like had the cadence in my head and everything. It took me months. I don't know how many, but a long time to write. So I don't know. There came a point where I was like, oh, okay, so I wrote it all on guitar just to some extent. We still like workshopped some of it and all that, but then it hit me. I was like, damn, I have to write vocals to this too. I was like, this is like half the battle. I haven't even seen it out yet.
And then one other song that is, becoming more and more iconic. I feel like, at least with this album, "Let's End All of This," which is the final track on the album. You have this really great, just like, little chorus of just like, "Bury me with all my friends," and it hits so well. And one cool thing you guys did with this album is you feature a lot of friends on it. We have Tyler Stodchill on "Maybe That Truck." We have "Hey, I Love You" on Mima's Room. Tiny Voices on "Volcano Balls." Enswell is on Double Bind, sorry. And just having all of them come on and contribute in their own ways and like round out this entire album was great. Obviously we see the four of them on in there, but was there anyone that you were hoping to also get on this that just didn't work out?
So the answer is yes. When we were getting to the point of like getting the features and everything, we actually were talking with Sam of Ben Quad to do a feature on curses, and Sam just ended up being too busy. I mean, Ben Quad, I mean, they're busy people. So that wasn't able to work out, and then I think somewhere along the way, like maybe that truck wasn't going to have a feature on it. So I have it. We had it like recorded, finished with my vocals on it. Maybe not recorded, finished, but I did my vocals all the way through it, And we ended up like hitting up Tyler, like, you want to do a feature? And Tyler's like, oh, I'd love to, and yeah. So that wasn't like we knew that "Hey, I Love You" was going to be on Mima's Room early on, and Enswell's feature, and also Tiny Voices feature. I mean, yeah. So Ben Quad was the one who got away. I love them. There's no I totally understand.
Yeah, I mean, they've been crazy busy. Everyone loves Ben Quad. I mean, I put the record up for this episode. You can see it behind me next to the Stars Hollow one.
With the Counterparts record. Oh,
yeah, the Counterparts. And I also put the Andrew WK one up there.
Nice.
I've been doing something lately where I finally put up some shelving, so I want to display some records for these episodes. Obviously, Stars Hollow there because Tyler's featured. Ben Quad, they're the homies, so I knew that they had to be featured for this episode. I felt like we talked about Counterparts on the last episode that we did, so I brought
big inspiration. Yeah, and then, that's like my favorite release right there by them too.
And then I brought up the Andrew WK because in the promo photos, for people that have seen him, Kyle has blood all over his face, and that is the album where Andrew WK also has blood all over his face. So I figured it was a good tie-in for this one.
Andrew WK kind of looks like Stu.
Yeah.
From back here. You see it, y'all? Just me?
Yeah, Stu's gotten that comparison a lot. And when I played a Meat Jelly with Stu, we all dressed up like Andrew WK because apparently Andrew WK has some clones. So Stu is Andrew WK and the rest of the band were their clones.
Jesus Christ. Oh my gosh.
Before I move on to, I want to talk about some music videos here in a second because you do have two out for this release. I want to hit us up with pepper in some fan questions real quick. We did have a few. Thank you to everyone that submitted some. Um, you know, I gotta. I know Stu's not here, but I know he'll still love these questions. This question was submitted by someone with the Instagram handle of the realist beef stew. It's Stu, by the way. He asks, "Who makes the stinkiest poo poo?" Answer that how you feel.
Did he really?
He did. 100%.
I vote Jackson personally.
Yep. It's getting better. I would say this last 4 months I've made a lot of improvements related to digestion. So yeah, I'm getting better.
I'm happy you're getting better, Jackson. I'll back Hayden up just for the bit.
Okay.
Would you say not for the bit?
No, for the bit.
Oh, for the bit. But who would you say if not for the bit?
If not for the bit, I don't know if I've smelled any of them well enough. I'm going to have. We'll have to do some trial and error next time around. We'll
figure it out on episode 3.
Yeah, I just don't know if I've been in the bathroom after all of y'all and like had a good smell. I know I have with Stu. I just don't know how to like rank it without knowing.
I definitely
y'all.
have with Stu.
Yeah.
We lived together for a while, so yeah.
You know what it smells like.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know this episode will come out in August, so we're gonna miss a couple festivals. But the homies over at Easy Beach, they ask which festival are they most excited to play this summer, and they have a part 2 to this, but I'll start with at least part 1.
That's a mad hard thing to answer when obviously we're so lucky to be on any of these festivals.
We're doing
to be
and what else?
An Excellency.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
Their part 2 was, and why is it Pugfest? Because they help run Pugfest.
Oh nice.
But I mean, yeah, Pugfest and Excellency Fest are going to be 2 solid lineups that are happening this. I think those both happen like June too, or I could be wrong on dates, but this summer is going to be packed with just solid lineups on every festival. I feel like.
I mean, I could speak for at least Jackson and I that we're really fucking excited to see Guitar Fight if we can see Guitar Fight.
I'm scared to see them. I'm like, I love their music so much. Like, I hope I'm in the moment and can really enjoy it fully because their music deserves it.
Yeah. Big Guitar Fight fans. Yeah, I think personally, I don't know if I could choose like which one I'm more excited for. I think I'm excited for them in different ways, I guess. Like Excellency is all in one day and like so many stacked like great bands and homies, and like Pug is like 2 to 3 days with like bands, it's the same exact vibe. It's just 2 to 3 days, and though I think the downside for us is that we don't know if we'll be able to be there for the entire thing of Pug, and we also don't know when bands that we like are playing. As far as I know so far, so I don't know. I just hope we can catch all that we want to for the Pug Fest weekender. So, gosh, that's tough. It's our favorite fest is Homie Fest when we throw Homie Fest this year, because I'm not choosing between Excellency and Pug Fest, and also we do Homie Fest, so that's not weird. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Is there a lineup for Homie Fest yet?
We're working on stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like there's nothing solid right now, but that's Stu's baby right now. He'd probably talk for like 5 to 10 minutes about it. So he's doing a good job.
Okay, let me pull up one more question and then we'll get into something else here. So obviously we talked about Pugfest and Excellency Fest. What's your next tour schedule look like for either this summer, fall, winter? What's the rest of the year look like tour wise?
Well, we got ourselves a big old tour in August. It's gonna be about 15 days. We're going Seattle first, and then we're kind of going south through California. Then we're kind of going east through like Arizona and Texas and Oklahoma. That's gonna be really intense because we're just gonna go in I think Kyle's car, just a Subaru, for 15 days. So it might be a little rough.
Yeah.
Um, but
There'll be
yeah,
different people afterwards. Um, I mean, when is this going to be released?
It's gonna be like the second or third week in August.
right.
This thing that we're doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we're going on tour with Aren't We Amphibians and Flight Patterns. It's going to
Hell
be
yeah.
announced by the time this comes out. So Flight Patterns is doing half of the run with us, but we are beyond stoked. There's so many stacked shows, and I mean, just being able to see Awa and Flight Patterns live, every night is
Hell
just a
yeah.
dream. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna throw up.
I love them.
And then obviously, first West Coast tour for Mway because you guys have only done, I think, East Coast so far. Have you guys personally ever been to the West Coast? I know touring is a lot of first for a lot of people to get like touching the West Coast, so it makes it even more special when it's like we haven't even been there, we haven't touched these states in our personal lives, but we're going for this exact reason.
Mm. I've never been to California, but I've been to Washington, Seattle. I've never been to Oregon either. But what about you guys?
Yeah, I've hit them
Um,
all on various vacations, different times. But it'd be cool to be there with the band.
Damn,
And
I didn't know you've seen shit. I didn't know you've been
not
all
a
the way
long,
out
not a long
west.
time. In the last like 6 years, the only times I've gotten out of Wisconsin have been with bands. But I used to travel.
That's cool. I didn't. What the hell, J Dog? I didn't know that about you.
J-Dog gets
um,
around.
J Dog gets around. Oh God, that's the header.
Right.
Yeah, I've never been to them besides Texas and OKC or Oklahoma. Um, as far as I know, so it's going to be a huge first for me. Kind of like what you were saying. I mean, we have one day set aside right now to go to the redwoods, which I never dreamed of seeing those and even going out there, and to have like a solid reason to go and also just like enjoy it with the homies and play music is wild. I mean, as long as my windshield doesn't break this time, I think I'll be happy, all things considered.
Yeah.
We'll just have to break it before we leave.
True.
Get rid of all the glass in the car. We'll be
Yeah, just
safer
get a
that
head
way.
start.
Yeah.
Just damage my car before we get on the road. So anything that happens, it wouldn't make me feel that bad. I'd be like, my car's already like fucked up.
So those are just a few of the questions. I got a couple more that I'll bring up here in a little bit. But I wanted to jump into the music videos because you have two out for this album. There's the one for Mima's Room and then one for Let's End All of This, which I want to talk about the Mima's Room one first because it it works out so well, and I think I've mentioned this on one other episode where someone else did like the same, like a similar style where it's it's all just home footage from like you guys' tour that you did last year, um, and just kind of all spliced together with the song going through, and I love that style, especially with this song. Like it feels like so just like nostalgic, just talking about your friends and just like seeing the footage throughout the tour. Like it works so well. Was that always kind of the idea to do it that style, or was it, or like how did that idea come about?
Yeah,
um,
Kyle made that whole thing, so
yeah,
he'll know.
yeah. Spent like 6 to 8 hours making that thing and going through like 9 hours of tour footage, which that was brutal.
How'd you go through 9 hours of footage in 6 to 8 hours?
No, okay, all right. You broke the code. No,
Gotcha.
I spent like 6 to 8 hours editing it, and then quote unquote watched 9 hours of footage. I didn't watch it all. I like scrubbed the shit out of it. I was like, is anyone doing anything cool? Is anything? I was like, I'm not gonna make my brain bleed. I don't know. I don't know what's filmed entirely. I've watched a lot of it, obviously, but a lot of Mway playing, a lot of Hey I Love You playing. So we were on tour with Hey I Love You and Tiny Voices. I think were the two bands we were on tour with separately when we shot that. But no, it was not what the plan for Mima's Room was. Like we had all that footage. I knew I was going to make it into something, right? I was going to make it into a music video, but I don't think we realized, or I personally realized that that was the song that we were going to do it for until like I had like that exact same like thought process that you're having about it is like, you know, it's like all of us like having fun together and playing shows, like obviously probably playing, you know, more aggressive music and just felt like more of a wholesome feeling for a viewer. And I mocked it up and I sent it to Stu, and Stu is like, "Damn dog, that just made me cry." So, you know, I think a lot of sense, and especially with the callback in it and stuff. There are a few times where I was getting a little emotional making it too and watching it back. So, no, that's sick that you feel that way.
Hayden and J-Dog, how did you guys feel watching it for the first time?
I
Yeah, I felt
definitely had an emotional reaction. Yeah, go for it, J-Dog.
yeah, no, it felt really good. Yeah, that tour with Hey I Love You. Not very long, but I think it was a landmark for us. Felt significant. They're all so wonderful musicians and wonderful people, and to just get to hang out with them and have some fun was a really good time. Relive it through the video. And a song that features Caleb from Hey I Love You, I think was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and
Also,
that's another thing too. Like I remember being like, oh, and it would just make sense to have it be this song because we have all this footage of Caleb. So I was like, hey, Caleb, can I use the footage of you for this video?
Yeah, the next tour of Tiny Voices is pretty sweet too. There's a couple clips. Kyle found a little cabin in the woods. I can't even remember what state that was,
It was
Missouri.
in the Ozarks. It was in
Um,
Missouri. Yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, no, that was a fun time. You know, all the fun times are mixed with shitty times, but you know, whatever. It's good to relive. Um, love Tiny Voices. So, good job with the video, Kyle.
yeah, it was a really good video.
Thanks, y'all. Holy shit. I was like, how can I make it easy for myself? I'm like, all right, 1 second clips of everything from out of these 9 hours. 1 second clips. So I remember sitting there and being like, this is a lot of fucking clips because I like wanted it to kind of time up with the music or like the music itself. So I think it's like a second point two or something like crazy like that. So I was doing that for each one, and I think there's over 100 or just about 100 clips in that video itself. So I remember I got to one point where I was like, I feel like you start seeing the same thing all over again, like in one section of the song, and like you start to notice the same show is playing or
Oh
something
yeah,
because we only have so
yeah,
much footage.
yeah. Because you definitely notice it when you're playing in like that record store, like with all like the record bins in front
Yep.
of you. You notice that shot a couple times.
Yeah.
And I think there's one shot of Caleb where you kind of notice that it seems like the same show, but at the same time, like it's not like it doesn't take away from the fact that like it just all works together. It's just really good, like a collage of all this footage that just impacts it just the right way.
Oh, thank you. And shout out Maxwell of Enswell
Mm-hmm.
for letting us use his video camera. And Big Dog Al, Alex Keander, who also did all of our promo photos, for borrowing us his video camera also. I think that was for the Hey I Love You run. Oh, that was so long ago. So
Yeah, Maxwell came along on that run with Hey I Love You, or was it shit? Was
Tiny
that Tiny
Voices.
Voices?
Tiny
Okay,
Yeah.
Voices.
And no, he came along for
But
both.
Yeah, he was
Came
there.
along Yeah.
Okay, okay, right on. Yeah, but yeah, any footage of us playing on stage, Maxwell manned the camera for that.
Which
We
like I
killed
feel
it.
like just adds in even more to like the whole like friendship and like just harmony thing. Because like we talked about like on the Enswell episode, just like this Minnesota scene, not Minnesota. Sorry, I'm in Minnesota. You guys are in Wisconsin. This Wisconsin scene that you guys have is just so amazing and so intertwined, and that's kind of like, it's nice to see that like the homies are represented also on this album, and like it's not just you guys. It's like, hey, we're Wisconsin. Well, we also have Tyler and Caleb, but like we're
Yeah.
Wisconsin with this crew. Like this is who we are, and it's cool to see.
No, thank you. I mean, I feel like Tiny Voices in Us, and even Enswell. I was like, Enswell has to have a M-Way feature now, which is just it wouldn't make that much sense because I'm already just like in the project. um, but I have this joke with Tiny Voices where I'm like, we just are gonna have to be featured on each other's releases, every single one now, and so we'll see how long we can keep it going, right?
Now the other music video that you guys have out is for "Let's End All of This," which I only watched it once, so if I mess anything up, feel free to chime in. But we not to spoil too much for everyone that hasn't watched it yet, but like we see you guys like kind of just going out, have like basically to like a campsite, and then um, we kind of see everyone's faces in one spot, and then it kind of just gets you see like a transition with everyone's faces to like a completely different face, like a monster face. Like instead of me just butchering this entire thing, I'm just gonna have one of you guys explain like what are we seeing and how is it tying into this song? Because I know I'm just ruining this explanation
It's kind of
for
just a
everyone.
random idea. Like Evan had some masks. Oh no, Jackson had some masks, right? When we had
They're
your
mine too. Yeah,
We
yeah.
we contributed. Yeah, Kyle had a couple. I had brought a mask that my brother had
okay.
brought home from Nicaragua like 10 years ago and gave to me as a gift. So it's pretty spooky.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the real scary one's Jackson's.
Yeah, I think Stu
um,
would probably have the most to say about it. Yeah, it was directed by our dear friend Evan McConaughey. And Stu had a lot of ideas. We've ripped off Perfect Blue plenty, and the video maybe rips off David Lynch a little bit.
Yeah, some
The
Twin
particular
Peaks.
episode. Yep. Yep. Twin Peaks, The Return, season 3, episode 8.
Yeah,
Particularly was something Stu had in his
that
mind, I
scene at
think,
the
in
end. Yeah,
shooting. Yeah, going into it, I think Kyle was like looking for some substantial plot or ideas or what are we doing? And
diagnosed
Evan,
OCD.
yeah, yeah. And the David Lynch style is just you close your eyes, meditate and see some images and reproduce it, and make sense of it later a little bit. So that's what Evan and Stu are really fond of, and yeah, we had a fun time just goofing around and making some scary footage.
yeah.
Yeah,
We
I
also
think
rode
as
some
far as
ATVs.
yeah, we've
Yeah,
joked
Yeah,
that was like the most fun we've had together
yeah.
potentially. The
That's
it's
so
three
probably
of
the
us, like,
most probably the most I laughed in like a couple of years, honestly. If I could do that again, I'd really like that.
honestly,
we should
same.
do it again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah, we should do it again. And I don't want to reveal too much because I know it says continued at the end of it, or like really pull away from stuff that might be integral the next one. But I think the general idea of it is, obviously the song is like, let's end all of this, bury me with all my friends, all of that type of stuff. And clearly, it's a group of people, us like going out there and having a good time together and just hanging out and kicking it by a fire, right? To some extent. And then quickly enough, it takes a turn, kind of drastically, to pretty much everyone in masks, besides Stu, doing whatever you want to call that to him.
I completely forgot about that part until just now, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah,
it took a turn.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
I think in weird ways, kind of like talking about the David Lynch, like applying like meaning to it after the fact. Like, let's end all of this. The lyrics are a lot about like friends deceiving you, and like also not knowing if it's actually yourself that's caused all of it, or if it's your friends, and like also just loving your friends in general. It's like a really confusing song lyrically, and someone can go and find the quote that Evan, the person who directed the video, made about the lyrics in that song, because it describes it far better than I'm going to be able to a few beers in. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely everyone go watch it. And it sounds like there is going to be more music videos coming for some other songs on this album.
Yeah, it's to be continued. So yeah, we have plans to release another one. That's all I'm gonna say. So
Perfect. Well, I'll be
from
ready.
the
I know
album, another song.
Yeah, I'll be ready, and I know everyone else that's listening will be ready as well. I know we've kind of jumped around on this album. We talked about some Perfect Blue tie-ins, some tie-ins to some callbacks, these videos. But is there anything that like I didn't bring up that you want the people to know about between either current current M way, or Double Bind, that you want the people to know about?
Should we talk about the
Loaded
lineup
question.
change?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe some people don't like know this, so I guess we should just talk about it. But on the EP about that beer I owed you, we had Jamie as our drummer, and then I was on the bass for that EP, and then Jackson wasn't in the band yet. So for this new record, Double Bind, we have Jackson on bass and me on drums. So yeah, we had a little lineup change.
Do you feel
Yeah.
like that, like, obviously it's changed since EP to this, but like, do you feel that everyone's like a little bit more cohesive and like feels more comfortable in their roles, and what
100%.
kind of helped with recording of this album?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. My like main instrument is drums. And obviously Jackson's amazing at bass. So yeah, we're all just feeling comfortable where we are now, for sure.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I
Jamie
feel like
will always be the spirit animal
Yeah.
of
He's
Enway.
on our EP cover also. But yeah, I mean, I think now that we've like practiced together as this like full lineup for like longer than we did. I mean, with like Hayden playing bass initially and stuff like that, it feels like everyone's kind of sitting in the right spots in the band, and it feels much more cohesive and much more like a family, I guess, to some extent. I think like Hayden, and I'm going to speak for you, Hayden, I guess, but Hayden's like mostly a drummer, quote unquote.
I just
So
play bass for
like
fun. Yeah.
yeah, so like especially once Hayden like went over to drums, and we got Jackson in the lineup. It just kind of felt like Hayden was like, this is where he felt more comfortable at, to some extent. I can't even believe he played bass for this
I know.
project.
Yeah.
It feels
Wow.
like so long ago.
That was a
But
long
Hayden
time ago.
It
Hayden can do it
was.
all though. Guitar, bass. And I made an effort to
Yeah.
try and carry over some of Hayden's bass styles. I don't know how successful I was, but I wanted to keep some continuity. So yeah, Hayden's phenomenal at all that shit.
Thanks, man.
100%.
You too, bro.
I think that kind of is one thing too, that like where we mentioned earlier, where it's not a full departure from the first EP to this one, and we have that more like matured sound. I think it shines through now that everyone's kind of in like the position that they kind of more want to do, with like Hayden being on drums, and now we have Jackson on bass. Like, everyone's more comfortable in those positions, and you guys have had, like you mentioned, Kyle, you guys have practiced more in this version of Amway than you did with the original one. so you're so much more in tune and like cohesive with each other, where it just shines very well on this album. Like just nothing misses.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been sitting here trying to come up with something else that might add to what you're saying about or add like another thing about double bind that we haven't brought up yet or something like that. I'm having a hard time thinking of anything. I'm probably thinking too hard. So you're doing a really good job at interviewing us.
Well, thank you. But I do know too, like you guys, there's been a lot of stuff, also that you guys have been doing. There's been some other interviews. Obviously, you did the listening party, which had a Q&A. You've done like 3 Twitch streams, involving like some of the other people. So I know if there's anything that like
we did the giveaway. We did the giveaway
right,
too.
Which, shout out to that person because I don't even have a copy of that, and it still bums me out that I missed that. I fucked up on my own with that one. But
oh my gosh, we'll repress it. We've talked about repressing it this year. So
is it sold out? I didn't know that.
Yeah, the EP vinyl is sold out.
Oh, okay. Good job.
Yeah, not double bind.
Oh, the EP. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I think I was like,
yes.
I think double bind. I was like one of the first people to like. I was that much waiting for it to drop that.
Oh
day.
my
so
gosh,
that one's secured.
Yeah, we're getting pretty low on that one also, but there's still more left over on it. So it's sick.
And I mean, I talked about it earlier too, but you're incorporating Mima on the vinyl too, which I thought was like a nice tie. And like I I ordered that vinyl right away, not knowing who the fuck was on the like whose picture that was, what double bind actually meant, how it tied into Perfect Blue, and it's cool to see like you guys be like, hey, this is our new album, and then kind of let it sit out there and let everyone like be ready for it, and like obviously release the couple singles, but then now we all have like it's weird like where instead of starting at like point A, you guys started at like at point C, and then like went back to point A to be like, hey, this is like deeper meaning to a lot of stuff and like how things tie in, which I think was like really cool. Where like no one knew what the fuck, at least I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and then learning about Perfect Blue and how it all ties in and like just the correlations with everything. Like I thought that, like it's a roundabout. I'm just talking senseless for a second, but like it ties in, and I liked it. Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you. No, I get what you're saying. Like it's like we wrote it from a standpoint of like watching the movie and then wrote from there. And like I feel like even when we were watching or doing the like listening party, it was like people had just listened to our release or heard the singles and stuff and like new references that we pulled or whatever, the artwork for the release, stuff like that. And they were seeing Perfect Blue for the first time and they're like, M-Way reference. We're like, no, we're referencing Perfect Blue. So no, I totally get what you're saying.
They were probably aware. Just making
I get yeah. It's M-Way made the movie.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
No.
Satoshi Kon's rolling in his grave right now.
For a lot of people, obviously, like I mentioned, I didn't know Perfect Blue. This album comes out. Do you like? There's got to be a small like resurgence in people wanting to watch Perfect Blue now because of this. So it would kind of be funny to like someone that's like tracking it on their end. Like I said, like I rented the movie. And just that initial spike when like the album drops of just like all the people that now want to watch Perfect Blue, just
it looked like
what's going on?
I hope they're not tracking it. That just sounds like we're gonna get in trouble for copyright shit.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. And while we're on the topic of the artwork, I just want to shout out Palette Knife for doing such a great job. On that for us. It was Aaron and Alex who did it for us, and they knocked it out of the park. And obviously they're just Perfect Blue references throughout. So they had all these ideas and stuff, and it was like all so cool. And we saw the white background just double bind, like, and I think we like played around with other things, but we just kept going back to like not even the refined version of it. We were like, we love this like scrappy, rough draft you did. yeah, so it was such a pleasure working with them. They killed it like on draft one, on the draft for us. So love those people.
Well, we'll talk links here in a little bit, but everyone be sure to go listen to Double Bind. I can't stress enough how amazing it is. It's probably it's definitely going to be in the top like 5 of like what I've listened to this year. And it's I'm happy to say that is going to be the case. The amount of times that I will put it on in the morning for my drive to work. I went and got Canes yesterday. Just listen to that on the entire drive. It's a good fucking it's a great album. And I can't stress that enough.
It's fucking Louis the other. I'm sorry. Louis the other day goes, it's the perfect album for driving to McDonald's. Just like around us right up the street from his place. Like McDonald's and back. So when you said that, I was thinking, why is this exactly the same thing? It's so funny. I'm sorry, I was just dying for a second. If you need an album to go to the fast food joint right by your house, this is the one.
Yeah. But like I said, this it's episode 200 of Beers with Fans, and I can't miss another one of these. This is, like I said, obviously Beers with Fans. You don't have to be drinking on these episodes, because I'll definitely do that for you. But I know the three of you had some beverages in front of you on this fine Sunday night. What are y'all drinking tonight?
They didn't have Modelo.
Yeah, raspberry White Claw. It's all right. If we keep going, I'm gonna have to go downstairs again and get the warm Miller High Lifes in my backyard.
Blackberry. It says blackberry, not raspberry.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's blackberry. You're right.
Oh, I'm just drinking gin out of this glass, and I had a Negroni earlier too.
Straight gin, Hayden.
Yeah, but I was sipping it, and it's nice. It's not
This
bad.
Is beers with bands.
I know. I don't have any beer. Yeah.
That's why I picked up Heineken.
Yeah, come over, y'all. I got some warm Miller High Life in my backyard.
Let's go.
Cool.
Oh gosh.
But I couldn't miss another beer segment. That one's that one for episode 200. Before we get into the later half of the episode, where we kind of talk about some fun stories before we take off for the night, I do have a couple more fan questions that I want to ask. I just had it up and I'm going to lose it. Okay, so this one comes from my homie Jace Ray, Jace Wynn. This isn't a question. She just wanted me to say, tell him Jace says play Iowa City because she misses you guys. So go play Iowa City when you guys can.
Yeah.
You've never played Iowa City.
Michelle used to. Yeah, Michelle used to play there, and she had the edibles, the candies, and I saw that comment. Was thinking of those candies. Anyway, yeah, it would be good to be back.
Yeah, I will say, and not to just toot my own horn here, but like Beers with Bands turned 5 this year, so we did. This episode comes out after it happens, but I did the Beers with Bands Fest, happened in Iowa City. Emway did get the invite for it, but timing didn't work out, so they weren't able to be in Iowa City. Otherwise, Jace, I would have had your back. I would have had him there.
Can we do next year, please?
Yes, that's it. It's on my list. You'll get it. We'll talk. So the first one I had to do in Iowa City because Iowa City's kind of my original stomping grounds. But now that I'm in Minnesota, future ones will all be in Minnesota and be a little bit bigger. And I'm going to try and keep them as stacked as I can. And obviously, Emma, you guys have been on the show, so you guys already have the immediate. You guys already have the invite to it. We just got to figure out details, but we'll figure it out.
Hell yeah, that's sick. Yeah, I was like, wait, we've never been to Iowa City because I saw that too, and I was like, we've been to Dubuque, we played Dubuque, and that was like one of our first out of state shows. One of
yeah.
ages ago.
One of our
That
first
was
shows altogether.
probably in 2021, January or something. Wait, I don't know. Maybe 2022. I don't know anymore. But yeah. So I was like, what the hell? Like, we've only played Iowa once, not Iowa City. We'd love to though, 100%.
Dude, yeah, if you get a chance to play Iowa City is a great time. Like I said, it's one of my favorite spots out there. Um, but moving on to this next question. This one comes from Riley Jude off Twitter. They say they need you guys to rank the Fast and Furious franchise. I know that's a difficult question.
I only know the
'cause,
number one personally.
I mean, that's good enough for like
Tokyo
so
Drift.
well, Tokyo Drift is technically number uh what's that, two, technically three in the original series, but it actually comes in like seven. I could probably write a dissertation if I needed to.
Really?
But
Really?
the question's not
Okay.
for me, it's for you guys.
I think the best one's Tokyo Drift for me. Yeah.
I would also agree. It was a classic.
Hell yeah.
Never watched any Fast and Furious movies, unfortunately. So I feel like I have no stake in the game. I'm sure Stu has. God knows.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can watch
We
at
rank.
least the first three and be okay. Uh, really, when they get around like number six is when it starts getting kind of like weird and stops being like real life.
Yeah.
Jackson, have you watched them?
Well, yeah, I can remember watching at least one, I think, when I was like 6 years old at my cousin's house. But I have no memories but apart from that.
Okay, yeah. We'll put that question down for like a Stu needs to follow up with them.
Yeah.
Stu's probably watched all of them, and
He's got a poster of Vin Diesel in his room. Yeah.
yeah.
And then the final fan question is someone else from Instagram. They say, with the success of Double Bind, when will there be another album by Emway? And I know it is kind of soon to ask that question, but what is the future looking like, music and album wise, for Emway at this point?
That's a great question. And I'm gonna just be honest. I'm not gonna bullshit anyone. We sat down and we essentially were like, fuck everything else. Let's like just like sit down and write music and not worry about like what is the next, album or EP, or like what are we doing? Are we doing splits? We were pretty much just like, we're gonna sit down and we were just going to write and write the best stuff that we can, and all, collaborate to the best of our own abilities. And then once we get to a point of having that conversation, that's when we'll have it. So I guess the answer is we're not at the point of that conversation. I know that we have a lot of material that we're sitting on. We're just kind of all learning it and starting to practice a lot of it. So both Hayden and Stu were in school, and it didn't allow us to practice as much as we typically had been. So I mean, Hayden is able to practice during school, but Stu isn't. Stu is not able to. I'm kidding, but Stu's going for his master's program. So
And
he's
graduated. And he's got that.
He graduated.
Got
Yeah,
it.
congrats to Stu. He graduated his master's.
He is.
So in a way, like, we are working our asses off to make new stuff, but we don't necessarily know where it is, when it's going to come out. I'd say the hope is by the end of the year. The reality is probably next year we'll get another, real Emway release. But our plan is to finish writing it this year.
Yeah. Next year is probably a reasonable estimate.
Yeah. So that's the plan. At least we have a ton of stuff to work off of. We just
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like
pretty
to be
busy.
reasonable or to estimate, but that's probably true.
Yeah.
Hopefully that answers that question. Hopefully, maybe 2025 we'll see the next iteration and see what the next chapter of Mway sounds like. And I know I'm very stoked to see what that's going to be like. You know, before we end these episodes, we always talk about some fun stories from your guys' time music. Obviously, since the last time we've chatted, one, we got Hayden on the podcast now, and two, you've done a couple tours with Hey I Love You and Tiny Voices. So I'm sure there was some fun shenanigans that have happened in your time. But Hayden, if you're not familiar with the spiel, this is where we kind of talk about some fun stories from your time in music, whether they're shows, tours, time recording, all that fun stuff. As I normally say, they can be anything horrendous to tremendous. Or
you guys hear that? I'm sorry. Can you guys hear that shit? Can you guys hear what's going on outside of my apartment?
No, what's going on?
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Please continue. I just thought I thought that this
is
really
there
loud noise was just interrupting.
Huh? I think I hear it.
Yeah, it's a car horn.
Okay, yeah, I heard it for like a split second there.
Hear it when you talk, otherwise it like cuts out your audio when you're not talking.
Oh, that's not good. Well, it's over now, so I'm sorry.
What do you have any stories, Hayden? Any like bad or good, or I don't know?
The first thing that comes to my mind is when we were in Chicago, we were playing with Hey I Love You on tour, and we were supposed to play in this park, like by the river or one of the rivers, I guess, in Chicago. And we get there, and we start playing our first song, and like 1 minute into our first song, the whole power cuts out. Like the entire show had to stop because we were running it off of this little generator that the dude who was running the show didn't charge. He forgot to charge it. So we like basically dragged Hey I Love You out to Chicago, dragged ourselves out, and they didn't even get to play, and we only got to get through like half of one song. So that's what comes to mind.
Yeah. It was interesting. Like we show up at this random parking lot and Hey I Love You's there, and everyone's kind of being like, what the fuck is the show? Like, we can't get a hold of the the person setting it up, and so morale was kind of low. But eventually shit gets set up by the river and the sun starts setting, and Routine Fuss, a band from Chicago, opens the night, and they had an awesome set. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, this is golden. This is a cool night. And we got through, half of the song and playing right after Routine Fuss. And we kind of went back to where we were before.
I heard y'all were drinking champagne.
We were like, fuck it, we're just gonna get drunk. Like, this is a bad day. I'm just gonna drink champagne.
I was drinking champagne because I thought it was a good day, but no.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, it's a bummer for Hey I Love You coming all the way from Montana to have a date planned and not even get to play.
Yeah.
They said it was one of their best shows though, because like so many people like bought merch from them that night.
Really? Oh, yeah.
So
they didn't even play, but it was one of their best shows. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's honestly, I wish every show was like that. I'm just
right.
For us, to be clear.
For us.
Yeah. You have other stories, Hayden? I feel like you get at least two, right? At least. Like you weren't at the last one. You just caught up, I think.
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure I have some, but do you have any that you can tell while I think of one?
So we did our tour with Moose Creek Park in January. And I already brought it up in this earlier, but essentially Hayden ended up getting sick, and we ended up having Alan, the drummer of Enswell. He like practiced our stuff like a day or two tops, because we were like, Hayden's feeling a little sick, and then the next day we were like, all right, yeah, like we like, this is our only option, can you please come out? He was like, yep, I got the set down and everything. So because he's just a maniac, I don't know how he does it. So we drove back home from Chicago on our way out to Missouri. So like we went to Madison and picked him up. We dropped off Hayden, right? And literally on the way to Missouri, we were literally like an hour. I think we were exactly an hour away from the venue. and there was a semi in front of me, and it was still snowy, like a little bit. It wasn't snowing, but snow was on the ground, and this semi just like had like little pieces of like snow coming off of it, and all of a sudden I just see this like it looked like a piece of paper just like flying in the air, a little piece of paper of snow, and literally it just looked like it was like spinning and like flipping, and I was like, oh, it's coming close to us. It's just like gonna like poof, you know, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and just right as it was like large, it smashed right into the windshield. And it wasn't like a poop; it was like a smash, and like literally like that like 1 second of or less than, it was just like out of nowhere. There's just glass fucking everywhere, and we couldn't see anything. And the car turned from peaceful to like, what the fuck is happening? Pull off onto the side of the road like really quickly, and I'm
Well,
sitting there
yeah,
and
I was thinking pull off on the side of the road, but Kyle keeps accelerating and gets a photo of the truck driver's license plate. So
yeah, I was like, no, we're getting this license plate, because I could still see. It wasn't like great, but I could still see. And yeah, we got the license plate, and then we pulled off. We didn't keep driving.
That's so
um,
crazy, man.
Yeah.
and I'll try to make the rest of the story um, shorter, but we ended up pulling off, and I had to get my car towed, and they ended up pulling the driver over, and that's a whole thing that happened too, and whatever. But the tow truck, we took all of our gear out, and we were like Moose Creek is going to come pick us up from the venue, so they're going to drive an hour to us and then an hour back to the venue.
yeah,
And
thank
they
you,
started
Ryan.
driving. Yeah, thank you, Ryan. I love you. Shout out Ryan of Moose Creek Park. But yeah, literally, uh, we pulled all of our gear out of the car onto the side of the road, and we were like, we're gonna have to wait here in the cold for like an hour. And the tow truck person rolls by, and like it's like taking our car and stuff, and was like, you want me to just drive you to like the gas station up the street so y'all could just chill out there? So we ended up doing that and kicking it at a Subway with all of our gear with us, just like inside. And yeah, Ryan ended up showing up. We ended up playing, and we got a loaner the next day. So um, honestly, like I think that moment, and uh, despite Hayden being there and stuff too, it was like really one of those moments where you're like feeling like you could overcome things in the project, and you know, it we were so fucking pumped to play those shows thereafter, because we were like, we could have like just like went home like whatever, but I think like we were all just so fucking stoked to be like, we fucking like spent this much time like figuring this shit out, and we're here to play these fucking shows and like give it our all. And like it felt really good to knock out the rest of that run, despite the house venue just flooding before we
Yeah,
even got to play on the last show.
Hmm.
it was a cursed. It
um
was a bit of a cursed tour.
there was a curse. There was a
Yeah,
curse.
yeah.
We had to say goodbye to Moose Creek on that Saturday in January without either of us having played at the house show and it flooding. So we were just like, it flooded, and then we were pretty much just like walking outside. And we are like, all right, well, we'll see ya. Goodbye. It's
Yeah,
been a
it's
good time.
and
So
that was
like
the sec.
lackluster.
Yeah, yeah. That was the second time a pipe burst while we were playing
Yep.
in a basement. It's
Yeah.
happened once in Milwaukee. It was at the Lighthouse. Good times. At the Lighthouse, it was during our last song. And then Springfield, last show of that tour, it's during our tuning before our first song. So bit of a bummer.
We were this close to even starting, and it was just like pipers.
Crazy, man.
That Lighthouse show. Did Guard Home play that show too?
It was a bug moment.
I can't.
Oh,
Riot 9.
the only
Yeah.
reason I bring it up is because I feel like, so I sat down with Dylan from Garden Home because they also released their self-titled LP this year, which go listen to Garden Home. But I feel like he talked about that show too, because he made, or at least I feel like I've talked to like a lot of Wisconsin bands lately, but it's only been like Enswell and Garden Home. But I feel like we got like a whole other side of that story too. So it's funny that you bring up that same show.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm trying to I'm
Sounds
like,
right.
maybe I could find it really quick, and then I'm like, I should probably not be doing this on an interview.
I mean, it's better than I had one time. I had a guy just like get so high he ended up just started playing Call of Duty.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
yeah, yeah.
That's
I,
real?
I yeah, it's happened. It's out there.
Dang, dude.
That guy's not in that band
They're all
anymore. So,
200.
oh well. But
Yeah,
Uh,
Garden Home's phenomenal. I feel bad if I can't remember who we played with at that show and it was them, but no, they're all great people and dope musicians again.
100%. Gosh, I know I'm so close to finding this. 8/16. It was in like what, September? Wait, is this it? Yeah, this is the show. Garden Home was on it. Can you see it? That's the
oh
show. Yep, it was Garden Home, Riot 9, and Bug Moment.
Damn, that's a
So,
good show.
yeah.
good
That's
show.
a good show.
That was a good one.
It was packed. It was I remember there's a video of it too out there. And you know what, Michael, maybe I could just send that to you also. So you could just like place it right here or whatever. But essentially, I think it's the video that we have on Spotify right now too. But I'm like on Maxwell's back, and literally like it's the end of Test Chamber. There's like the pause before the sample or whatever, and like right around the time Stu's going like 1, 2 before we like go back into it, pipe burst, and you can hear me in the video just going, play the fucking song.
Yeah, I thought someone was spraying champagne all over my back. I was like, "Fuck yeah, we're gonna do it!" But it was literally a pipe bursting all over me. I was like, "Jesus Christ!"
Because I didn't think it was that bad, and then like I think reality set in afterwards, and I was like, oh, we need to turn off the water right now. Like there was people like hugging the pipe, and I was like, okay, like let's just turn off the water, y'all. Everyone's just gonna get soaked for no reason. But yeah, gear
It
was
got bad.
soaked, and
Yeah.
everyone was like, okay, show's over, and Bug Moment wasn't able to play. So sorry if this is a bit of a recap from Garden
Right.
Homes.
Yeah, that would
You're
have been our
fine.
first time. First
Yeah.
time playing with Bug Moment, so it's kind of a bummer.
Uh-huh.
Not-
We've made up for that since a few times, so
No, yeah.
But-
Don't feel bad that you told like a story from the same moment because it's cool to see. At least from my perspective, I don't know who might have checked out all the episodes, but like it's cool to see like different point of views for those stories. So I'm totally down for it.
Yeah, I mean that was a big deal to like all of us at that time. Like we were all just like talking about Leak House, like instead of Lighthouse, we were calling it the Leak House, like and everything. Just even the venue, the people that were running that venue, and I don't know, it was cool. That's a great memory that we have, despite it like ruining the show. I mean,
True. Yeah.
very memorable. It's
Yeah.
very memorable. It was a good night. It was fun.
Jackson, did you have any other stories to add before we start to lead out?
I don't know. I could attempt a story, but it'd probably get pretty rambly pretty quick. So.
Remember that time with the Cheez-Its when we were feeding the birds at the beach on Rhode Island? On
What?
Rhode Island Beach. I don't think you were there for that, Kyle, but Jackson was. Yeah.
What happened?
I don't remember that so well. I remember doing that as a child. I used to feed Cheez-Its to seagulls as a kid.
Yeah, these
right.
old ladies that were like, I don't know, talking to Bailey a lot. They liked Bailey.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And they gave us a bag of
I was there.
Cheez-Its. Oh, you were there? Okay.
Oh,
That was it.
no, yeah.
All right. But yeah, that was fun. We also saw a giant horseshoe crab that day. And that was crazy.
That was a good time. I kind of forgot that we went to the beach out there.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I remember being like, we have to go to a beach, and we go to this beach, and it's just like, it doesn't feel like a beach at all. It was. I was like, this is the closest thing we're getting, y'all. I was like, I just want to swim, and it's just like, it's not like pretty. It's like dark water. and like it was okay. It wasn't bad, but it was like still like it wasn't like you imagine like going to the East Coast and you imagine being on the beach. You know what I'm saying? Like clear, icy blue water type of a shit. And yeah, no, none of that. It felt like a Wisconsin lake, but like really hot,
Salty, yeah.
salty. Yeah, and salty. It was salty. That's
Because it
true.
was the ocean. Yeah.
It hurt my eyes.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right.
Met a couple cougars there, so
Yeah, we
good
met
time.
some cougars.
Oh my
They gave
God.
us Cheez-Its. Yeah, that was funny.
Hell yeah.
Oh God.
No, yeah, those are all solid moments. I remember the band that I used to tour with when we never when we did the East Coast run, we never went to the beach. But then when we went to California, we ended up on Ocean Avenue by accident, which was cool in hindsight. Like it was cool in the moment too to be like, oh shit, we're on Ocean Avenue. But it was also like we're in LA with a 15-seater van and trailer. We're like, get us the fuck out of here. It was just so overwhelming. Even to try and like turn around the van, so like we didn't even get out or do anything. So at least getting in the water with some cougars, and whether they were in the water or not, but horseshoe crabs and Cheez-Its, that sounds way better.
Yeah,
I am
I regret
jealous you
calling
saw
us
Ocean
cougars.
Avenue.
We are not cougars, but anyway.
No, we're not.
Oh my God.
But like as we start to end this episode, and I told you before we started recording this episode, or before the episode started, that I would say it multiple times throughout this. Like Double Bind is fucking amazing. It's a great record. It's a solid first LP. It's a solid sophomore release for you guys. Like I'm so stoked on it, and obviously you've seen how the DIY community has accepted it and like what their thoughts are, and how we've all just backed Mway basically till we fucking die. Like this album is so fucking good. I'm so stoked for you guys to have it out in the world and like just have it all out there. Like I can't stress that enough.
Thank you, dude. Appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously, means the fucking world that, anyone likes it to any extent, and just super heartwarming and cool to see the response on it. And I think, for us trying to follow up that EP that we were just doing for fun and ended up being a little something more than that. It was really cool to have people fuck with Double Bind at all, It's definitely a concern, like trying to follow up the EP. I mean, Test Chamber goes hard. I don't know.
It does,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the kind words, Michael.
Yeah, thank you so much. Seriously, and it's always a pleasure. I've had double the pleasure now with our last interview with Enswell. So seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us and drink with us virtually. And I think that hopefully third time's the charm with us bringing up Minnesota with Stu, and he won't be sick the next time, and maybe we can actually kick it and do this in person. It doesn't have to be the interview. We can just fucking kick it and drink.
Yeah, I mean, like I told you guys before, like I have the space. Anytime you guys are in town, you have spots to crash. And like I want to thank you guys too. I know, it's like I had mentioned. This is episode 200. I've done 200 of these, and I was trying to figure out timing as to like who I wanted to have on, and I don't know. It was something. Thankfully, like Double Bind came out, and like, I mean, aside from it being just super good, but like, we've done one of these before. You guys have always been cool, respectful with me. Not to say like everyone else that's been on hasn't been like cool and everything, but like I don't know. There was just something where I was like, I think when I do Emily's episode, it just needs to be that special 200 spot, and like I truly mean like. I mean, aside from just putting out good music, you guys have been genuinely nice to not just me, but like everyone in the community, and it's just amazing to see. And like, I'm really stoked on this version of Mway and to see what the next chapter and future holds for you guys.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. It's such a honor to be doing your 200th. You didn't even tell us beforehand. You didn't even fucking tell us. You're like right when it goes on air, you're like, "Yep, this is the 200th episode." I'm like, "What the?"
In my defense, I did in my text that I sent you like a few days ago or yesterday. I did mention that it was going to be this episode.
Well,
Kyle, you good?
Can you still hear us?
You don't have.
yes,
you don't have
yes,
to
we're
look at
good.
the
We're good.
text.
My AirPods just died.
Oh, okay.
Might be
right.
y'all.
Yeah, I did text you that it was going to be episode 200. I said no pressure, but it's going to be this episode. But that's besides the point.
So busy. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This isn't about me. This is about Emway, and Emway has put out a great record that everyone should go listen to. If anyone's looking for merch, music, or Emway in general, where can they find it?
They can find it on our link tree. That's probably the best way to it, like on any like MY608 on like all socials, and literally you just check the link in our bio and you can pretty much click out to, you know, any of our music, pretty much wherever, and also our merch site, and I don't know, whatever else we have on there, like all of our videos that we talked about today, and the vinyl, anything of importance at the time will always be on the link tree.
So depending where you found this episode, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, Threads, or you watch the YouTube version, got to see there the only faces like I did tonight, check those hyperlinks down below. Go follow them on all the socials. Be ready for the possible repress of About the Beer I Owed You. Go get your copy of Double Bind if you haven't already. If it's sold out already, start hitting up Thumbs Up Records to get it repressed already. And be ready for those dates for their August tour, and just all things future Emway. Like, I can't stress enough, it's amazing, and I thank the three of you from the bottom of my heart for taking the time out of your Sunday to sit down with me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, this was fun.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, anytime, Michael, anytime.
Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Well, everyone go listen to Emway, and I'll catch everyone on the next episode. See ya.
Bye.